Hey everyone, usually unemployed, back with an unemployed game review today. Today we're going to be reviewing Marvel Rivals, a new free-to-play hero shooter released on December 6th, based in the Marvel Universe. We're going to be looking at it to see if it's an Overwatch clone, an Overwatch destroyer, if it's the new talk of the town, or is it just going to be like Concord here for a few weeks to just dissipate. So let's get into it. First things first, I like quite a few things in this game, such as how everything's overloaded. What I mean by that, because everything's overloaded, nothing really seems overloaded. You know, in some games like League, for example, you know, if you're playing, I don't know, what's a old, like a Singe versus Ambessa, that feels horrendous to play as. Singe is just such an old champion, an old character that it's just not fun. You can see the power creep and how the game's developed. And with that being said, that's not in this game because everything's so broken or so overpowered that nothing really is. You know, everything has a primary and secondary attack, an ultimate, an E, and a left shift, or a third and fourth ability. They also, some of them have two passives, one passives. Some of them have things on their space bars. Some of them have abilities for if you're falling down out of the sky, you can do an ability with that. So there's a lot of abilities, and honestly, because everything's so overpowered and you do so much damage, it really makes you feel like you're playing as the hero. I mean, I'm a superhero. I should be able to do a lot of damage. Hence the reason I'm a superhero and not just some average Joe. Um, and that's another thing, you know, you're a superhero, so with that being said, the movement also makes you feel like a superhero. Every character has some sort of built-in movement, and it makes it feel good. Characters, Jeff the Landshark. Jeff, we gotta add some points to the game just because Jeff the Landshark's in this game. I haven't seen all the Marvel movies, so I don't know what, you know, movie Jeff the Landshark's in or what comic he's in or what his role in the Marvel universe is. But I can tell you what he is. He's the cutest, most adorable thing I've ever seen on this planet. He just gives off he needs pets and love energy. Like it's so adorable. He is absolutely the cutest thing on the planet. It's so great. I love little Jeff. Jeff the Landshark. So about the only thing that I find unique about this game is the team up abilities. There's quite a few, and they're really neat. They add a different dynamic to the game, especially like the Groot and Jeff the Landshark. Those things are cool. Groot's ult really pairs well with Jeff the Landshark's ult. So I really like the team ups, and that's about the only unique thing that this game has to offer, to be honest. The movement in the game, I really feel like helps with the immersion. Honestly, the immersion that I feel whenever I'm playing Iron Man flying through the sky, I do feel like Iron Man, honestly. And with that being said, immersion, being able to destroy things in this game, that really helps. Obviously, I feel like it's a double-edged sword, a Pandora's box. Like, I can't destroy enough since you allowed me to destroy some things. Like, for example, Battlefield Bad Company 2, you can blow down entire buildings, and since that Battlefield, the destruction in Battlefields has become less and less of a as many buildings can be destroyed. Same thing here. I feel like, you know, I'm a superhero. If you're gonna let me destroy this building, why can't I destroy that building? You're gonna let me destroy this bridge, why can't I destroy that? Um, so I feel like, you know, that really does help with the immersion, and I love it. You know, the map Tokyo 2099 Spider Islands. There's a whole massive building when you're escorting the payload that you can collapse. It's cool. I really enjoy it. It really changed up the dynamic of the game and how it plays. Honestly, I was really shocked because at that point I had only blown up like just some bridges, really, and then the whole building falls. So I thought that was very awesome. Those are really the last bit of likes that I'm going to have from this point on in the video. It's going to be dislikes and personal opinions. So starting with the dislikes, my biggest dislike so far experiencing with this game is something that Overwatch experienced long ago and fixed. Well, fixed with in quotations. You know, what it's going to be is there's no role queuing. So if there's no role queuing, then people just play whatever they want, which I'm fine with. But when somebody plays whatever they want, that's great. But what about the other team when they decide to go the meta 2-2-2? Well, that's horrendous to play against. If you're just some dude and his buddies are playing, all of you are playing DPSs, for example, or four of you are playing DPSs and two healers, or five and one healer, whatever the setup might be, it just feels worse to play against people who are playing the meta 2-2-2. And I feel like if you add role queuing, it just adds to the time to get into a game. And then as soon as that starts happening, then they introduce autofill. So now you're trying to queue up as a tank and you play healer. Or you're trying to just play only DPS and now you're playing healer or tank. I'm not a game developer or a game designer, so I don't know how well it worked, but why don't they try before you pick a character, a hero, why don't you just have the players vote? Do you want to run the 2-2-2? Or do you want to run just 4 DPSs, 2 healers? Something. Have them vote so that way that the playing ground, at least in the competitive gameplay, is always even in that sense. So I don't know if that would be a good fix, but that's something I thought about, and I was like, well, I'll pitch it while I'm standing here talking about this, because it's just, queue times being a league player, queue times are horrendous, especially now that the game's dying. Queue times are not fun. Being autofilled is not fun. Not playing what you wanted to play isn't fun. Some of it just feels straight up copied from Overwatch, if I'm being honest. Like Star Wars Blaster Barrage, that's just Reaper's Ultimate. A Dollar Tree version of it. Star Wars himself reminds me exactly of Tracer. Dual pistols, dashes around. His ultimate Soldier 76, his ultimate. The headshot noise.
Another bump in the road.
I'm almost positive it's the exact same noise as in Overwatch. I could be wrong. Let me know if you know in the comments, but it sounds like it to me. All the game modes are exactly the same. You got capture, escort, capture, and defend. And so it just feels like they didn't really try, to be honest. I mean, think about it. What did they come up with that was unique in the game? The characters were already laid out in Stan Lee's universe, in the Marvel universe, and even in Walt Disney's garb that they've been releasing. The maps came from those movies and those shows. The game modes came from Overwatch. There's no new game modes. I mean, sure, there's that Conquest that you can play for the arcade version, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the majority of players don't play that, so there's no new game modes. It just doesn't feel like there's anything really unique in this. And sure, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to make a unique character when they're all based off of Marvel. I get that. But there's actually no uniqueness in this. Not any that I could find. And I honestly have a big problem with that. It seems really, really, why, where's the uniqueness? Where's the ideas at? The idea was just to pay Walt Disney for franchising, or Marvel for franchising, so that they could have rights to the product so they could make it. That was about the only idea they have. Another thing I don't really like about the game is that while the movement is really cool and awesome, there's a lot of invisible walls for no reason. So for example, in the map Spider Islands, Tokyo 2099, Spider Islands, there's obviously a flat ceiling, which I'm okay with, a ceiling that you can't go past. But if something's under that ceiling, let's say there's a roof that's under that ceiling and there's an opening in between the ceiling and the top of that roof that you should be able to fly over, you can't. There's so many invisible walls, it makes no sense. You can't go around some things to get a good flank, to get a good ultimate, because an invisible wall will stop you right dead in your tracks. And at that point, that does take away from the immersion. What's the point of having a flying character if you're bound by really crappy walls? I mean, even Overwatch doesn't have that. Pharah, while she can't permanently fly, you can go, you can get some really good flanks with Pharah. You get some really good flanks with Junkrat because there's not a bunch of invisible walls like in this game. So if you're ever playing Iron Man, just try to fly through something that you think that you should be able to fly over or fly around, and you'll just be hit with an immediate stop. So I really don't like that about that. It just doesn't seem pointless. Like I understand the flat ceiling, like the ceiling that you can't fly past. That makes sense. But everything that's under that you should be able to fly over that you can't because there's an invisible wall, that makes no sense to me. There's no villains in this game either, which is weird. Like I get it, you're a hero shooter, but I mean, in theory, even though they're morally not heroes, they have superpowers, make them superhuman. So why not have more villains? I don't know of hardly any villains. Man, maybe like okay, the number of heroes to villains is massive. You know, there's way more heroes than there are villains. But the villains, I mean, some of the villains have cool powers, and I feel like they would make a great addition to the game. And I mean, sure, I know they released with 33 characters on launch, but I feel like you could have added way more villains to it, and it would have been awesome. So I feel like maybe there's just a lack of villains there. Something that I don't really dislike or like, I'm just going to throw it in there, is that they're actually hosting a tournament in January 2025. And you don't have to be like a pro player to join or nothing. It's got a prize pool of 14.5. First place you get 6,000, second place 3,000, third place is 1,500, and there's a financial reward all the way up to the top 16. So at top 16 after that, you don't make anything financially, but top 16 teams make 200. All of them come in with rewards of in-game cosmetics as well, if you just play in the tournament or if you win it. And I really find that cool because I feel like ever since esports has came about, smaller tournaments are becoming less and less common. And that just really, I don't know. I like that they're having smaller tournaments because I feel like you can play as a community and brings a good community to the game. And that was just something I wanted to throw in here and make you guys aware of, is that they do have a tournament coming up. So, and there's no barrier to entry. You could create your own team with your buddies and try it out. Alright guys, well that's the game review of Marvel Rivals, the unemployed game review of Marvel Rivals. So next week I'm going to try to do 2 videos again next week. Probably do another City Skylines 2. They just updated it. The damn mods broke again. Go figure. And then also I'll be doing Path of Exile 2, a game review of that next week. I know it's been a while since Path of Exile 2 came out, and there's already people who've done game reviews. But as somebody who tries to review other games and plays other games and also works sometimes, there's just not as much time to play PoE as I would wish. With that being said, I also broke my character. I paid like 10k gold in the game to reset all my points because I thought going a totem build would be great. The totem build ends up being absolute crap at my level. Maybe it's just crap in general, I don't know. And now I don't have the money to respec my character again. And also I can't progress in the story because I don't have the damage to or health to progress in the story. So there's some things that are making me mad in that game too that I don't like, that are making me ill and don't want to play it. I just don't see what it adds. But it will definitely be having a game review next week of Path of Exile 2. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you made it this far, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Deuces. Goodbye. Adios. Bye-bye. Alright, guys. Bye. Deuces. Bye-bye.